start again. It's a redskin.
What's going on, everybody? It's the Bulls Show, aka Aiden, and welcome back to another video and welcome to another episode of Chicago Bulls Weekly. Today, we're going to be dissecting the previous week for the Chicago Bulls, discussing the results, giving out awards, 4 awards usually we give out for Bulls Weekly, and discuss the upcoming week that the Bulls have, and the tests continue to get difficult. Now, at the end of the day, I would say it's a very solid week for the Chicago Bulls this time out, but as I said, it's going to get harder from here. Can we respond to the difficult challenges ahead of us? And can we fight for that play-in spot that I know the Bulls are desperately trying to pursue? These are all the questions that we will know not only by the end of this week, but heading towards the end of the season. Before we get started, please like and subscribe to the Bulls Show, turn notifications on, and let me know in the comments below your thoughts about the Chicago Bulls and whether or not you believe we can have a great week next week. And of course, if you agree or disagree with the awards given in this video. Now, we had 3 games to look forward to this week, and we ended up going 2-1, which is a great result for the Chicago Bulls. Again, you always want to go positive throughout the weeks. You always want to look at the weeks that you have, a brand new week, 4 games, 3 games, whatever the case may be, and you want to make sure that you succeed in that week. And honestly, I think the Bulls delivered this week. A back-to-back performance towards the end of the week, a very tough challenge in the first game against the Kings, and again, I think they handled themselves fairly well. But let's talk about the results, why don't we? With the first game coming against the Kings, unfortunately we did lose this game 114 to 117. Now, I've got to be honest, I thought the Bulls played well in this game, but the Kings were just too good offensively, and they brought so much of their dynamic offense to the Bulls that I think it was hard for them to really overcome. Not to mention, they went away with what really worked, because the Kings did not have shot blockers in their team, and they did not really show any sort of, I guess, in my opinion at least, intent to protect the paint well. I think sometimes they made a priority in a couple of possessions, maybe to force the Bulls to shoot the 3, but for the most part, the paint was where the Bulls needed to attack. And I think at the second half of that game, they didn't do it. The Kings came all the way back. I can't remember what the lead was, but we had a pretty significant lead in this game, and we blew it. And De'Aaron Fox did the heartbreaking thing that the Bulls often usually get on their side anyway. The Pacers did it, and now Sacramento did it. De'Aaron Fox hits the buzzer beater. And of course, the Bulls left, I guess, instead of going 3 games undefeated this week, they move into a 2-1 record. And look, the Kings are a great side, so of course a lot of people won't feel terribly ashamed of the Bulls for losing that game. But again, knowing the situation, we could have won this game. That is the most frustrating thing about this Kings game. And again, we don't have that much time to lose all these games. Then the second game, we versed the Minnesota Timberwolves. A weakened Minnesota Timberwolves in all fairness, but we won this game 139 to 131 in a double overtime performance. There were great highlights in this game. Very fun offensive game to watch. Both teams competitive and battling. Minnesota had the lead most of the game. The Bulls surged late, sent this to overtime. Nikola Vucevic had one of the craziest dunks of the year. And yeah, we just went on an incredible run in overtime to win the game. And a great result in my opinion. As I said in the game reaction, as I'll say now, it doesn't matter where you are in the standings. It doesn't matter if you're tanking for the first pick. It doesn't matter if you're the first seed competing for a championship. In a double overtime performance, when there's 2 teams battling as hard as these 2 teams battled to win that game, you want to be the one that comes out on top. And we're normally not the team that wins in overtime. We normally are the team that crumbles in the 4th, or that crumbles in the game in general. And we did not show any signs of that against the Timberwolves. In fact, we surged to make sure that we had a chance to win this game. So fair play to the Chicago Bulls. It was a crazy, crazy game. And then obviously our last game against the Miami Heat, I think this was more of a cut and dry game, to be honest. We won the game 113 to 99. We had a 25-point lead in this game. Yes, Miami surged mostly back to make this game a competitive battle towards the end. But I was for say 3 out of the 4 quarters of this game, the Bulls looked comfortable and could handle themselves. It was only the 3rd quarter that was an absolute misery and a disaster in which Miami were able to come back from. So again, I don't think Miami played very well, and I'll take that every day of the week, especially on the second night of a back-to-back, especially with a double overtime performance the night before. To win this game, I think is personally huge. and now we have season swept the Miami Heat this season. So can't complain too much about the wins that we faced and the games that we played this week, in all honesty. Let's turn to the awards. 4 awards we usually give out this week. The Defensive Player of the Week, the Must Improve of the Week, the Sixth Man of the Week, and the Player of the Week. And I've got to be honest, I think there's some really controversial ones in there for you guys. I'd like to know what you guys think. The Must Improve for me is between 2 people. Andre Drummond and Ayo Dosunmu. I really think those 2 are the selected players that I would consider in this category, and I am going to pick Andre Drummond just because I think his performances are starting to become a little bit worrying because of the consistency of them. I feel like for most of the games that we've seen Andre Drummond participate in, he's usually getting 2 points and 5 rebounds, and it's just the consistency of those performances, in my opinion, are starting to hurt us. I don't necessarily blame all of it on Andre Drummond. Again, this team does have a habit of not going to centers in terms of their offense, and Andre Drummond struggles because of that. But at the end of the day, I do feel like his performances are becoming a little bit consistent in a bad way, and I'm trying to hope that that's not what we see. I want to see the Andre Drummond that when he was taken out of the team for Derrick Jones Jr., when he got his chance to come back in, he fought and he competed really hard. He played probably the hardest he's played for the Bulls this entire season and delivered great performances. I miss the alley-oop threats that Andre Drummond used to provide for this Bulls team. We very rarely see anymore, and a lot of that I believe is because Goran Dragic isn't here. They had a great connection, and most of the lob threats you saw from Andre Drummond was because Goran Dragic was the one passing them, and it's upsetting in that way. But these point guards that we have, who granted are not necessarily true point guards, maybe Patrick Beverley's considered one, but Alex Caruso's not a true point guard. Ayo's not a true point guard. Kobe White's not a true point guard. We don't really have that true out-and-out point guard. And that's what we need to pursue in the offseason. I really believe so. All these guys can play the position and do it well, but they're not true point guards. They're not going to be guys that can, I guess, play the sets well. And that's why you see multiple ball handlers on this team anyway. But anyway, regardless of that fact, we do need to find Andre Drummond more. And I think Andre Drummond needs to boost up his consistency a little bit more, or upgrade his performances a little bit more. So that's where I'm going to go for the must improve. But I think both of those players will probably be in contention. The Defensive Player of the Week award, and this is controversial because you're probably going to think I'm going to give it to Patrick Beverley. I'm going to give it to Alex Caruso. It's clearly one of those 2 because apparently no one else on this team can play good defense. Well, you're wrong. You who thought that, you are wrong. I'm not going to give it to any of those 2. I'm going to give it to a different Patrick. I'm giving it to Patrick Williams. Patrick Williams defensively this week has been super solid. Again, there are a couple of misplaced rotations and stuff like that. He's still a very young player. I won't forget, in the game against Miami, he did end up missing a rotation that led to an and one opportunity for I believe it was, I can't remember who it was. But anyway, it led to an and one opportunity. I guess I am very forgetful. But nevertheless, for the most part, his help defense has been on point. He's been able to guard some really strong players. His stats as well have been really useful backing him up. He got 2 blocks in the game against Miami. He had 4 steals in the game against Sacramento, with a block as well against Sacramento as well. I think he's been a very underrated defender. I don't think anyone has really mentioned Patrick Williams' defense this week. Which, again, no one really mentions Patrick Williams in general because, again, he's moved to the bench now. But that's where my mind and heads are at this point in time. Of course, Patrick Beverley is still there competing for that Defensive Player of the Week award every week. Alex Caruso, he did get hurt in one of the games against Miami, but he's always there competing for the Defensive Player of the Week award. Did you guys see Zach LaVine's comments saying that a lot of people are talking about his defense, but he believes he's one of the best one-on-one defenders in the NBA? Again, that's a very big quote from Zach LaVine to say. So, again, he's probably one of those guys that from time to time you can see in that category. I wouldn't put him there this week because there were a couple of times he got beat off the dribble and there were a couple of times he let rotations get ahead of him. I've never seen Zach LaVine as a good off-ball defender. On-ball, athleticism-wise, look, if he's versing someone stronger than him, I would worry. But if he's versing guards and stuff like that, I think Zach LaVine is a good one-on-one defender. But when it comes to the off-ball defense, I'm not a big fan of Zach LaVine in that regard. And he said it himself way back when. He needs to improve in those areas. So, it's a building process for Zach LaVine. We'll see if he can deliver I guess, more. But again, in terms of the defensive player of the week for this week, I'm giving it to Patrick Williams. But Patrick Williams will not be getting my sixth man of the week because I'm going to give that to Coby White. I thought Coby White this week provided a little bit of everything for the Chicago Bulls. Of course, he provides hard work every single game. That goes without question. But he provided great scoring. I believe he had a 12-point game, an 8-point game, and a 18-point game throughout this week. He provides some playmaking, got some nice playmaking stats this week as well. Rebounding, I would say a bit up and down. But again, energy and defense, being a really good sixth man in my opinion. And Coby White is our sixth man, I really believe so. And his role has been much more consistent this year compared to last year. And I think that's helped him as well. Last year, he was meant to play every position under the sun. With all the injuries and the COVID protocols that we had to have, Coby had to start a point guard, had to start a shooting guard, had to move to the bench and be the bench point guard, had to be the bench shooting guard. I just felt like the roles of what he needed to do last season were just so bizarre, crazy, and different every single game that Coby White wasn't able to produce his best self. Now, I still think we can see better from Coby White, but his role has been very consistent this year, and I definitely think that helps him in many departments. He's had a great week, and he's definitely my sixth man of the week. My player of the week, I believe we've done all four. Must improve Drummond. Yeah, we've done all four. The player of the week for me, a lot of people will just say Zach LaVine's on an incredible run. It should be Zach LaVine. Well, it's not Zach LaVine. It's DeMar DeRozan. DeMar DeRozan has had an incredible week. He had a 49-point performance this week, which instantly, again, if you have a 49-point performance and you win the game, you're automatically put in the contention for player of the week, in my opinion. Not to mention, he had a nice double performance in this time out against Miami, and he played fairly well against the Kings as well. And yeah, look, what else can you say? DeMar DeRozan's had an incredible week. I think back at the top of his game for sure. And the best thing about this week is that DeMar and Zach LaVine played well together. They both held their own. You're talking about the 49-point performance from DeMar DeRozan. How could you possibly forget the 39-point performance by Zach LaVine? DeMar had a 24-point double-double. What about Zach LaVine's 18 points and 7 assists? Again, it's great to see these two play so well together. And it's absolute necessity, including Vucevic as well. All three of them, if we have any sort of success this season and ambition this season, those three need to play well. It's their responsibility. They are the leaders of this team. They have to make sure they bring those leadership qualities to the rest of the team. It's not up to the young guys to become the leaders of this team right now, because they're not the leaders and they're not seen as leaders, and Billy Donovan doesn't trust them to be leaders. The core and the veteran players are trusted to be leaders of this team. So they've got to come out and do it every single game. And 2 out of 3, I'll take that. I'll take that every day of the week. And that's all for the awards, ladies and gentlemen. Looking at what we have coming up next, we've got 3 games to look forward to. There is a game for me on a Monday, but I will not mention it as part of this Bulls Weekly because it's on a Monday for me, but you can count that for your version of Bulls Weekly if you like. We have 3 games to look forward to. First game is against Philadelphia away from home. That's a really hard game to overcome for the Bulls, I must say. Again, Philadelphia is on an 8-game winning streak. I'm not sure if they've lost today or even if they played today. I haven't checked. But a great team. James Harden is playing very, very well. Joel Embiid is an MVP caliber player. Tobias Harris, very hard to stop. They have Tyrese Maxey over there as well. Again, assuming everybody's healthy for Philly, that's one hell of a team. And competing for a championship, I would say, this season as well. They're definitely one of those teams you have to put in that conversation every single year, even if they don't necessarily make it every single year. But yeah, very, very hard game to overcome. Again, I'd love to see the Bulls break that narrative that Joel Embiid has never lost a game against the Chicago Bulls. Again, I just think at the end of the day, something like that, you need to have pride and play your absolute hearts out to stop a guy like Joel Embiid from continuing to have that, I guess, narrative about the Bulls. I don't want to wait till next season to see that gone. So again, there's an opportunity there for the Bulls, but not only is there one opportunity, there's 2 opportunities there for the Chicago Bulls, because the game after that is against Philadelphia at home. Now, the one that I think we could potentially win is the one at home. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter at home or away. This Bulls team, I think, should feel confident in themselves to deliver and compete against Philly. I'm hoping that the players really feel like they can win that game. But again, it's always easier said than done in these types of environments. But you're gonna have to beat the best teams if you want to go into the play-in. Look at the teams that we still have. We still have Memphis coming up. We still have the Clippers coming up. The Lakers. Look, the Lakers are playing okay. I wouldn't necessarily consider them the best teams out there. We still got Dallas. We still got Milwaukee. This is not an easy stretch for the Bulls. So you have to beat some good teams if you want to put yourself in a good position. It's as simple as that. And Philly is, in my opinion, the prime example of it, because that's probably the best team that we have in the next upcoming games. Interesting one to look out for. And then the last game is going to be against Damian Lillard and the Portland Trail Blazers. Portland are not having a great season. They had a great start. Didn't necessarily have a good, I guess, current state of their season. But look, I think for Portland, you look at where they are in the standings, I don't necessarily see their season as over with, in all honesty. They're 13th in the Western Conference. They're a couple of games out of the play-in. So I think they're in a very similar position to the Bulls, trying to fight for a play-in spot. With Portland, look, I think that's a winnable game for the Bulls. But at the same time, we do have Portland's pick. So you want to hope that Portland wins some of these games to get into the 8th seed at least, so we can get their pick, or we're going to have to wait another year. And therefore, we're not going to have a pick in general in the NBA draft, because let's be honest, we're not going to get our own pick. It's going to take a miracle for that to happen. So 3 games there. I'm expecting to go 1-2 this week. I've got to be honest, I can't see us beating Philadelphia in any of those games, but I'm hoping that something can happen that can surprise me. That's my weekly prediction. I want to keep on trying to bring those into this video, but that's it for this video. Thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe if you're new. If you watch every week, I'll see you next week. If not, I will see you in the next video, or if you just watch on occasion, I'll see you whenever I see you. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay tuned for more. Take care, and peace.